In today's video, we're going to talk about my top 5 neighborhoods to live in Norfolk, Virginia in 2024. There are a lot of neighborhoods in Norfolk I absolutely love, but these are the ones I'm really looking at this year for spots that I think are good value, good types of houses, just places that I love. We'll go into some hidden nooks in the city that I think are undervalued, and some that just people don't even notice and know exist. We'll go into all the different price ranges as well. So number one, we're going to start in the central-ish northern part of Norfolk, which is a little small neighborhood that if you want to stay in the lower like 300 to 400, 450 price range, this is one of my favorites that people don't really mostly know about, is called Belair, which is on the central part of the north side of Norfolk, which you see right here. You see Chesapeake Boulevard, you see Shore Drive, you also see Little Creek Road right here. So I'm going to zoom in here. As you turn off of Little Creek, you're going to turn to Buffalo Avenue, this super thick old growth tree neighborhood, brick ranch houses, also 2-story, private little nook right behind Little Creek Road, and different styles of houses, 2-story and ranch. A lot of them are brick, love that. It's a very established neighborhood with lots that are just wider than you might find in some of those newer, smaller condensed neighborhoods that feel like you're kind of close to each other. That's not what this neighborhood in Belair is. So it's very quiet. So the streets are quieter. So you can drive and walk around and it really not be very busy at all. But the houses are going to be anywhere from like 1,500 square feet, anywhere like in the 2,000-ish square feet range. And because of that, the sizes of these houses, that keeps the prices down. So you'll find houses in here in the 350, 375 range to the low end. You'll see them up into the 4s, but very rarely do you see them over 500,000. And that's again, partly because you see the house sizes are smaller. Again, you can find some nice houses in here in the 380, 390 range. So I think this is a great value for what you can find in the location and general area of Norfolk. Because people a lot of times are looking in Norfolk and they want character. They want that, that real kind of classic old style neighborhood. But because of the price ranges, sometimes those neighborhoods can be bump up into the 5s and 6s a lot of times. And that's one of the reasons why I do like this neighborhood a lot. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 3, 2.5. But again, the garages and being in the 4 or less price range is not necessarily too common to find in this kind of style house, and also lot size. Now I'd say the drawback is going to be once you leave Belair, you're going to go back into the area near Little Creek Road, which again just isn't very exciting. There's some good shopping ish as you come across Little Creek. Like there's a Kroger, Harris Teeter in and around this area, like grocery store stuff, Walmart. Once you come off of Little Creek, it's just there's not a lot of unique, new, fresh stuff being built around here. So not a lot of new stuff happening in and around Belair. And you're not too far away from Ocean View, the beach as well. So you come out, zoom out, you'll see you're not only but like 10, 12 minutes away from Ocean View. That's great too. So there's some drawbacks here. One is going to be that these are older houses, so older house problems. Like for example, cast iron pipe, drain lines going to the road, they might need to be replaced. That can be $10,000-ish to replace all that. Older electrical systems, older plumbing. This area, it comes off of Little Creek Road in a place that's very, very like industrial, like an older kind of meh part of Norfolk. It really isn't that interesting, that exciting. Well, if you drop a pin just below Belair, you'll see that what I'm talking about. Like this is Little Creek Road, and it's pretty basic, like 50s, 60s style construction, the strip malls. This area isn't super like fancy or renovated. I like Belair a lot for what you're paying for, and it's one of my top 5 neighborhoods to live in Norfolk, Virginia in 2024. So let's shift attention a little bit over further south as you come down Granby Street. So if you look at, there's Belair coming down, there's Ghent, and then here, right here, I talked about Talbot Park a lot in the past. A real nice neighborhood in the same peninsula off Granby. But now we're talking on this right side here, Cromwell Farms. It's Ellsworth and East Belvedere, and really the whole part of Belvedere, really, but east side. I like this whole side a lot for several reasons. One is you're going to have some real nice classic houses in here, some Cape Cod style, but a lot of really unique kind of 30s and 40s style houses. These were built back then, and so some of them are going to still be smaller, like 1,600 square feet, which can keep the prices lower, 350, 375. But then you're going to find some that are going to be in the 2,000 square foot range. Even as you get further back into the corners of the neighborhood, now you're talking towards on the water. And so I like the versatility that this neighborhood has, the fact that it's got the old growth trees, the old style neighborhood, also random style lots, and also the fact that you got water access as you get closer to the water. And also, it's kind of cool to be on or off of Granby Street because it's a very long and convenient road to be close to. It's a busy road, but it takes you towards 64. It takes you down towards Ghent. It takes you down towards downtown Norfolk. The other thing about this section, Cromwell Farms through Ellsworth and Belvedere, is that as you drive down Granby, you don't even really pay attention to the fact that this is here, just like I mentioned with Belair. So as you're driving down Granby, all these parts of the neighborhoods, a lot of them are dead ends. So you drive in, you don't have really much choice but to get there and turn around. So that's kind of what these neighborhoods are like. I love that because, again, it keeps the quietness down, even though you're close to very busy parts of town. Prices are going to be kind of in the same, like $370-ish range to start, going into the $4s. Now, these are going to be $5s and $6s and up, though, as you get closer to the water, bigger houses and all that. So depending on what kind of house style you like, you might not be as big of a fan of some of these. But if you want water access, these are some really unique spots, some cool spots to be on, because you can get to your house very easily, but also have water access. Very nice combination. Now, also, it's one of the highest chance locations that you might not need flood insurance and also be on or close to water. Now, there's going to be some drawbacks. One is going to be that there are some Cape Cod style houses, some really weird floor plans. You know, those Cape Cods that have the second floor, which has those smaller or shorter ceilings or pitched roofs. You might see a house that's 2,000 square feet, but it might not feel as big as a 2,000 square foot house as you might find in other types of houses. That's one. Number two, again, older house style problems, similar to what you might find in other, like I mentioned, Belair and a lot of other neighborhoods in Norfolk. Those older piping, plumbing, electrical systems. It's the house is an older house. Another drawback is going to be the sizes of the roads. So as you turn off of Granby, I'll drop a pin, you're going to notice that the widths of the roads are very narrow. So you'll see if you have cars parked on the road, it's very hard to navigate around them a lot. This is really narrow. So if you, again, this is a great example here. You have this truck, you park along the side of the street. You're not going to be able to get around it unless there's nothing coming in front of you. So I'd say that's another drawback. The parking can be tight in these neighborhoods. But now, number three, if you come off of Granby Street, coming down towards Ghent a little bit more, you hear me talk a lot about Larchmont. Well, this is more of a detailed section in Larchmont that I want to focus on. It's called Edgewater, which is on this eastern side of the Larchmont. See, it says Edgewater right down here. Well, it's the Edgewater side, which is just off of Hampton Boulevard. Love this neighborhood, and I think that people talk a lot about Larchmont itself. People don't notice necessarily that Edgewater is part of this general area. So if you drop a pin, I'm going to show you right here. It's got a kind of a unique kind of feel to it. It has some real nice streets in here. You see look at these awesome trees. Now the construction, very similar to what you find over in Larchmont. It's the same kind of style. And these streets also are pretty wide, find similar to that a lot of parts of Larchmont as well. But one of the cool things about Edgewater is that if you see Jamestown Crescent here, Jamestown Crescent takes you across this bridge here right onto, it turns into Colley Avenue. And the top of Colley Avenue is where you find some new breweries, like Elation Brewing right there. You'll find a couple nice places. One is Hank's Filling Station, kind of a fun games place that's in the same general part of town. There it is right there. And there are some other restaurants and breweries and cool places in and around the north part of Colley Avenue. And you can keep taking all the way down over into Ghent as well. So keep driving down Colley and you'll hit the central part of Ghent. So I like the fact that you can take this side of this road down Jamestown and connect down to Ghent as opposed to going down Hampton Boulevard, which is real busy, it's congested. It's just a longer, kind of a more boring way to get down to Ghent. I like taking this alternative option as well, and you're on the same side of the road as Jamestown Crescent as opposed to Larchmont, where you have to drive across Hampton Boulevard anyway to get over to the same side as Edgewater. So I like that a lot. The construction, the architecture, totally up my alley. You find some real nice houses in here, but the houses start in the $350, $400 range, just barely. A lot of these are going to be $450 to $500, and the houses where you'd be like, okay, all done inside, nice, like crisp, clean floors, all done kitchens. Those are going to be closer to 6s, 556 and up mostly. Now you can get some that are a little bit less. Now that being said, some of the prices that are less might also be because they require flood insurance, which is one of the drawbacks to being in Edgewater. Is you'll find a lot of spots that require flood insurance, and the general area on this western side does require flood insurance, so you can't really be too surprised. These are going to be also still built in the 1920s, 30s, like nice old classic colonial style, craftsman style houses, big 2-story, big open ceilings. You'll find some that are more like the smaller, those ones that might be 375, 400. They might be in the 1,1700 square feet range. You could find those in here. Most of them are going to be over 2,000. Some might have basements. You'll find some 25, 3,000 square feet and up. So if you want a bigger house, this can be an option. You may still have to pay more for it, 550, 650 and up to start for those bigger houses. But I think for what you get, I'm a big fan of Edgewater a lot. Now, as you come out of Edgewater, but you're also close to Old Dominion University, you're close to what also is going to be the new rail yard down towards Lambert's Point, which is just south off of Hampton Boulevard. There's going to be like a lot of new stores in there, shopping. For what you can get in and around Ghent, it's going to be one of the more active parts of town to get more shopping outside of Ghent itself. So you got Harris Teeter, which is the closest grocery store in Ghent, but you also have Lidl and Fresh Market in Ghent, but also as you come off of there, you're going to find some more shopping access down in near the rail yard too. But other than that, there's nothing really super close to you if you live in Edgewater, like as far as shopping goes, other than the ones you can find in Ghent. So that's one of the drawbacks, I'd say. And otherwise, you can come up around off Little Creek towards Harris Teeter, in and around near Ward's Corner. A lot of neighborhoods in here. So that's, I'd say, a drawback to being in Edgewater is just getting out of the area to immediate shopping is just not super convenient. And especially if you have to work over towards Virginia Beach, you're in the corner of Norfolk, which, again, I love the western part of Norfolk, but it's just that one of the drawbacks is it's just hard to get out of there very easily. The number 2 neighborhood in Norfolk for 2024 is just north, up off over the Lafayette River Bridge, just to the west on the left side of Hampton Boulevard. This neighborhood right here, love this neighborhood called Lock Haven. This one often gets forgotten, I think, because it's so close to the base, Norfolk Navy base. It's also close to a major road, so you just kind of drive past it, just like some of these other neighborhoods I've mentioned. But if you drop a pin, these are some really, really nice streets, some real nice sized lots too, some wider sized lots. These have a kind of a range of age when they were built as well, like 30s and 40s. And you'll also find some that are on the water, just like in your Edgewater, just like in Ellsworth and in Cromwell Farms. So you don't really find too many houses in here that are exactly alike, which I'm a big fan of as well. Now, these are also bigger, older and bigger. Most of them are. So if you want a smaller house, this might not be as good of an option because it just won't be as many options to pick from. So there's also higher maintenance costs with these houses, which I'd say is a drawback, but I just love the uniqueness of this neighborhood. But as you drive around, even along the neighborhood on the shoreline, you'll see one side you've got water, other side you've got houses, real nice views, great spot for walking. Love this neighborhood a lot. The price ranges are going to be a little bit higher, 5s and up. Mostly going to be in the 6s. A lot of them are going to be the bigger ones, 7, 8, 9, and over $1 million. The ones on the water are $1 million plus. A lot of these, so real nice properties, but they can be on the higher price range. So it depends on what you're looking for. You might not find. So if you want something a little bit cheaper in the 5 or under range, this might not be the best option to stay under 500 price range. If you are stationed at NOB, for example, you're right down the street from there to Lock Haven. If you need to be quick access to other parts of the city, this is just close enough as opposed to maybe like Edgewater and further south, where it's annoying because it's on the edge of Norfolk, but it's not as difficult to get to 64 because you're right near a major road, Terminal Boulevard, which takes you right to 64. There's also a museum in this neighborhood called the Hermitage, which is just on the south side of this neighborhood, which it's a nice venue, a wedding venue. I'll show you the overhead because it's right on the water. This whole property is the museum. So the same drawbacks for older houses you'll find here. You'll find some slate roofs in this neighborhood too. So I'd say just maintenance costs can be a factor for, if you buy a house in here, especially the larger ones, just more upkeep. Now, the number one neighborhood I've got for Norfolk in 2024. I've talked a lot about the south part, like in Ghent, Big fan of Ghent. It's West Ghent and Chelsea. These two combined make a super, super cool neighborhood. I think is fantastic. I'm a huge fan of West Ghent. It's my number one neighborhood in Norfolk for 2024. Huge fan because you get Ghent. I love Ghent. I talk a lot about Ghent. Well, this is West Ghent, which is just off of Hampton Boulevard on the other side of Ghent. And Chelsea is mostly restaurants. Not too much as far as houses go in Chelsea, but the fact that you're in West Ghent, you can walk over to Chelsea real quickly. That's something that most other places in Norfolk you can't do. So you can get to Ghent from West Ghent, but it's not necessarily proper Ghent because you have to cross over Hampton Boulevard to get there. But don't worry, there's some real cool stuff in West Ghent. So you've got the streets themselves, similar to what you might find in parts of Ghent, but some of these houses are a little bit smaller. The streets sometimes can be smaller too, which I think is maybe a little bit of a drawback, but you have the sidewalks, a lot of these streets, you still have the same styles houses that you might find in Ghent itself. But some of these even feel like what you might find in places like Edgewater or Larchmont, or even in Talbot Park, or even going up towards Lockhaven. So there's a lot of different varieties of houses in West Ghent. And it's also, again, a little bit quieter compared to what you find in Ghent because you don't really drive through West Ghent to get to other places. You just go there because if you live in that area, you have to go there. Now, the things you might drive to West Ghent to see or experience if you don't live there are the things that are cool to be living close by there, which is breweries, restaurants, the Bakehouse at Chelsea, the Birch, which is one of my favorite places to have a beer, Benchtop Brewing, Orapax, a Greek restaurant. So as you drive through West Ghent, you'll find not only the houses, but also the restaurants and the accessibility to things to do, Smart Mouth Brewing. So it's got a mixture of the neighborhood itself and also an industrial feel too. So it's not all just houses in here, which can affect the vibe a little bit, but to me, I'm a big fan. I think it's really cool to be able to be in walking distance to places like Smart Mouth, to Benchtop, to the Birch and Orapax, and all these restaurants. And also a new wine place, Grandiflora Wine Garden, which is in this section, the same spot as you might find some of these other breweries. So I love that. You're also close to the edge of Hampton Boulevard. So as you come out of West Ghent, you'll see Hampton Boulevard here. Now, it's annoying in one sense because you have to, avoid the tunnel traffic, because the tunnel is right there. It's right next to you, the Midtown Tunnel. That's annoying. As you come around there, if you avoid that, you can come around down Brambleton and you're right down towards downtown Norfolk. You can drive right to downtown Norfolk pretty easily. So a lot of these are similar ages. These prices are going to be, again, starting in the $450 range. A lot of them are going to be $5 and up. Most of them are going to be really those houses that are done inside, like almost move-in ready, like for what you can get move-in ready for contextualizing what move-in ready is for a house built in the 30s. You're going to find mostly you're going to be in the 6s and 7s, but you can still find some smaller ones in the 5s that are really nice inside. So I think if you're willing to spend a little bit higher up for something like what you might find off Granby Street near Cromwell Farms, or even towards Belair, if you're willing to go up over 500, you'll find some good options in West Ghent in the 5s, 6s, and 7s. Get a real nice house, accessible to Ghent, and also you're walking distance to a lot of great breweries and some cool stuff to do in West Ghent too. And also you don't have much as far as flood insurance in this neighborhood as well relative to other parts of Norfolk. So if you have any plans to relocate to Norfolk or anywhere in Hampton Roads, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, or Chesapeake, anywhere in Hampton Roads through Williamsburg, let me know. I'm a real estate agent and this is what I do. I love helping people relocate to the area. So if you have any questions, drop a comment. You can call me, you can email me, text me. I'll do whatever I can to help you relocate to the area. And I will see you on the next video.